SMU is roughly about 200 years old. It's coming up on its 200th birthday, and it sits in a wonderful part of Dallas, and it is known for being the University of Dallas. It sits right in the middle. Our football team is called Dallas's football team. It's even better than the Dallas Cowboys. And my role there, I've been a professor there for 20 years, but I am now the senior advisor to our university president. And I'm also the chief cultural intelligence officer, which means my job is really making sure that everybody's speaking a language that everybody else can understand so that we can be the best university we can be. I've always been incredibly impressed with the work that Cipher has done. They did before us. That I'll never forget looking for something and stumbling over this work, going, "This is it. This is what I wanted." And so there's not anything I would not ask you all to do. And it seems like I'm asking for more and more. We started with hidden scripts, which was our version of unconscious bias. But what I recognized was that you all are so diverse in your portfolio. There's nothing we can't ask you to do. So our vice president of HR, human resources, wants to sit down with you. So the things that you all bring to us is really a one-stop shop in terms of our training, the ideas, the creativity, the innovation. And so really, I can't think of what we've not done together yet. YouTube is a wonderful thing. And that's where I found you, was on YouTube and watching all of these great vignettes that you all put on. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want. One of the biggest issues was a lot of people in my part of the United States, Southern, could not understand English accents. So they're like, are we going to be able to use this? Because is anybody going to understand it? And so I was able to sell them on that point because I said, look, the world is international and everybody's not going to sound like us. So it's kind of good that we have a vendor that is global, and that we're hearing things in a different language because we have a number of UK professors. We have a lot of professors from South Asia. We have a lot of professors from Australia. And we have a lot of our athletes coming from Australia and the UK. Most of our women's basketball team comes from either Australia or the UK. And so for them, it felt very much at home and it showed that we were a welcoming place. So that was the only objection. But now, since we've been using a lot of your products really for the last 8 years, I think if we switched to an American accent, they'd be confused because they would be expecting to hear an English accent instead. I think there's a couple. First of all, there's a misconception of what London is. What, particularly US students, they're like, this is just New York with an English accent. And trying to get them to understand the distinctiveness of London, the distinctiveness of the UK, the distinctiveness of Great Britain, and the distinctiveness of the Commonwealth, helping them understand that this is much more than just a city, that it represents a history. It represents a nation, a very small nation that's had an oversized impact on the world. And so, first, helping them understand the history and how that ties into US history, and then helping them understand why this is such a diverse country and a diverse city, particularly London, because it's the heart, for a lack of a better word, of the empire. And so you see all the rich traditions of the people that have formed the Commonwealth. So getting them to understand cricket and getting them to understand the importance of football, as you would call it here, and helping them understand that these things have been played out over many years, many centuries. And just that history is even more important, that they are not us and we are not you, and we are distinctive. We have many similarities. We're like cousins, but we're cousins separated by an ocean. I think one of the things that in America we still struggle with is balance. That we have not understood how we can advocate for some things without going all the way to one extreme or another. I think what we're seeing in the United States right now is the pendulum swinging back to another, to trying to find some kind of balance of our commitment to our key values of diversity, of difference, of inclusion, of equity. Those things haven't left, but the interpretations around them have changed. For institutions like SMU, for particularly universities, in America, that's been the way in which we've grown. It's the way in which we've achieved some kind of social equity. In America, without an education, you can't excel. And so we view that as the entryway to the world, the entryway to bettering your family, the entryway to bettering your community. And so, what we've wanted to do and what we've recognized we have to do is make sure that this stream is accessible for everyone, that it's not inaccessible for anyone. And so we want everyone to feel welcome. One of the challenges has been is thinking about historical oppression, as well as trying to understand that in our effort to bring in others, it sometimes seemed like we were pushing others out. What we like to say at SMU is the things we are trying to achieve requires everyone. So we're not pushing anyone away from the table. We're just adding more seats. And I think that's where the challenge is, particularly in American higher education, is trying to figure out how we encourage everybody to be participants, to bring us their best talents, to bring their innovation, and recognize we need everyone. And so we don't need to swing from one end to the other, but just create more seats around the table.